When I started this channel, I decided that if I was ever in a train crash where nobody got hurt, I would make a video about it. This is that video. Yesterday, my friend and I were joyriding the entire Pittsburgh light rail system. And as we were heading south on the Silver Line, towards Library, we were pulling into Lytle Station when we heard a loud, wooden-sounding, crunching sound. As it turned out, we had struck a piece of temporary wooden fencing that had been placed on the platform to prevent people from walking onto concrete that was still setting. A bit of it must have been hanging off the edge of the platform in a place where the train could strike it. There was now a piece of wood kind of caught on the train's center door. I alerted the operator to this fact, but he did not get out and remove the wood. Instead, he waited until passengers had cleared the platform, then accelerated the vehicle, dragging the wood with him. It ended up being wedged into a chain link fence near the access ramp to the station, causing the fence to tear and dislodging the wood. The light rail vehicle wasn't really scraped up. That's not surprising because steel is a lot harder than wood. What did surprise me was the laissez-faire, que sera sera attitude of the operator towards this whole thing. He didn't seem to have much concern that he'd just damaged a piece of the station in front of passengers. But I figured I might as well go back down to Lytle Station today and see what the damage was and what we can learn from it. First off, here's the intact fence on the outbound platform. And here is all that's left in place of the outbound fence. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So all of this was removed by the train. And now, here is the main attraction. This is what became of the fence. As you can see, it's kind of buckled. I sort of recall there being a little bit more tearing, perhaps playing it over and over again in my mind turned it into a bigger scene of damage than it actually was. But still, like, look at that. That is a pretty severe deviation from where a chain link fence should be. You can kind of see the path at which the debris took to hit the fence, and there's some bits of fence and bits of wood all down along the track. Here's what remains of the fence. I'm pretty sure this bigger piece was knocked aside and this smaller piece was dragged with the train, but I'm not entirely sure. You can see some fencing debris all the way across the path. Update, I'm on the inbound platform and the damage looks a bit crazier from over here. Like, look at that. You can definitely tell that something powerful hit that fence. Here's a close-up of the intact fence. I can only imagine that, like, a piece of this was hanging over. You just told me! There is nothing holding this board to these boards. This would be a little bit of an awkward angle to maybe fasten things together with, but not impossible. And I'm not sure, but that might have prevented as much damage from being done. But it's a very small thing, so I really don't know that much about this stuff. In any case, I can only assume that either there was some piece of this that was shifted maybe this way, maybe perhaps these boards were sort of pushed more this way and that caught onto the train and the train dragged everything with it. Here's another good angle on the fence. I feel like the further you get from it, the gnarlier it looks. Anyways, that was about the extent of the damage. I'm really glad that nobody was hurt besides, of course, the station, and that even the damage that was done to the station is something that a work crew could take care of in a day or less. That said, I do have some takeaways from this experience. First of all, trains are powerful. You do not want to mess around with them, whether you are a passenger or an operator. As a wise man once said, tracks are for trains, not for playing games. Now, in the case of this particular operator, maybe it's normal to do what he did, which was accelerate the train with a bit of debris attached and wind up hurting the station. But that seems just logically not the best solution to that particular problem, and I'm kind of surprised that he didn't get out and inspect the train. Maybe there's a reason for it. I don't know. I am not a light rail operator, so I will defer to the experts on this one. But if I had been in his position, let's say if I had been training as a light rail operator, my instinct would have been to get out and remove the debris by hand, or at least try to see if it could be done. I was a little disappointed that that didn't happen, and in fact, I did write a formal complaint to Pittsburgh Regional Transit because of the incident. And, like, that debris could have hurt somebody if there had been somebody on the platform. I'm pretty sure the operator checked to make sure there was nobody in the path of the debris when he started the vehicle, but you never know. that could have hurt somebody if there had been somebody maybe walking into the path as he was accelerating. One other funny takeaway is that sometimes when something like this happens, the incident can play over and over in your mind, and details can become warped. I actually had to modify the script for this video multiple times because I remembered there being more plywood than there actually was being pinned by the train, and the hole in the fence I imagined as being, a very big hole that was punched in the middle rather than a tear at the bottom. And I'm really, really glad that I went back and actually looked at the materials, got the hard evidence, so that I could have a better idea of what actually happened. But it's just a funny thing about human psychology that I kind of picked up on in this particular instance. Regardless, I am still a loyal light rail rider. This doesn't change my preference for trains, it doesn't change my risk calculus or my feeling of safety on board a train. It's just the sort of thing that occasionally happens when you are riding public transportation, but it sure happens a lot less than when you're driving. If you have any stories like this that you'd like to share, drop them in the comments. And if you have any fun facts about the Pittsburgh light rail, I'm working on a comprehensive video about the system that should be out in a couple months, so let me know what I should include. Take care.